All right, so this is my quick summary of 2023 of my life and what happened with the $35,000-ish that I had invested in 2022 in a cybersecurity company that ultimately ended me on the streets and then in psychiatric care. And at this point of my summary, in questioning if the investment is even real or not. In January 2023, I was in the trickiest mental space that I ever have been. This is a picture of the gorgeous beard that I was building. The beard is an externalization of what was happening inside of myself. You can see that I was just letting myself go, growing the beard, letting the hair grow. I was in all of this questioning of reality and the investment that I'd made. I had $35,000-ish USD that was entrusted with this person. Go watch the 2022 summary on that if you don't know what I'm talking about. January, I'm like, where's the money? Dollar amounts, I had 16 grand Canadian on credit that was put into this investment. I had an additional 10 grand that I'd loaned with 40% interest on it that was in the investment. On top of that, I had around 16,000 of my friends' money that they had entrusted with me to put in this investment. So to say that there was a lot riding on this, whoo! Because Renan had pictures with Steve Wozniak, the co-founder of Apple, I'd sent a message to Steve, just in ballpark to see like, okay, maybe I can get some clarity on this individual. That led to me having a phone call with Steve Wozniak's wife because she was able to remember this dinner event where they had met the guy that I'd invested with. And she gave me some clarity into the interactions that they had. It was just a fan dinner, but it gave me clarity on this investment in realizing it's not happening. So I've got this picture of my mom's cat's Earl. Earl's a girl. It's like she felt my energy and noticed what was happening. And it's like she was absorbing my negativity as all of this was processing and happening. And I was coming to this raw, real, unimaginable conclusion. Like, I got 35 grand that I owe lenders and my friends. I'm gonna have to work in order to get it. I don't have a ticket in a trade. I gotta find some work to be able to pay this off. This was all starting to culminate and bubble up in my awareness. That was the trickiest thing ever. Okay, I'll stop rambling about the emotions. I was trying everything, like grab-avoid codes if you're familiar. I was meditating on these. I was involved with this early stage intervention group through mental health association in my hometown, going for outings. After I had an hour and a half phone call with the founder of this cybersecurity company, I was able to finally conclude after asking all the questions that I had, I've got to pay this money back. And I can brush that off in this video now because we're past the point. But back in 2023, that threw me into a depression and distress situation. I remember in January, my sister was getting married and I was having trouble with motor skill activities like switching attention between mirrors when I'm driving. I was having trouble with thinking of the words that I want to communicate. I didn't know those were telltale signs that my brain was starting to physically, mentally, neurologically go into a state of chronic distress and just depression. At first, I was driving a food delivery job to just make the payments with the credit cards. And then when I did the math and realized that's definitely not gonna cut it, I got a job at a lumber mill, which was close. I didn't even have a car. Like, I didn't have a car, but my mother was in Mexico, so she was allowing me to use her car. So the first month of January, I went and got a job at a lumber mill, forced myself to do it, and I absolutely just hated my life. After a month, I was able to save money up and get a car with that money, little janky Protege 5. Got this picture because I was, at the time of doing food delivery, I would take pictures of the moon thinking the moon cycle and full moons or new moons have something to do with when the transformation's gonna come, when the money's gonna come, you know, like just anything in the universal laws of attraction. I was hoping and wishing and praying that it would make things turn out, but it didn't. What I went through was a dark night of the soul. After the lumber mill, I decided to get a job at a landscaping company because it would pay me more. 3 days into the landscaping job, my best friend, I got news that he passed away. RIP. This is where he's buried. And this just crushed me. Thank God for my father. He bought the $30,000 debt from me because he had money saved aside to build his house down in Mexico. He decided to allot the money to me so that I wouldn't have to pay the interest payments and I would just need to pay the principal off. Huge change. But when he was building a house in Mexico, it felt so synonymous with the story of the Bible where it says the Father will go and prepare a place for you, physically that literally felt like what was happening. And that is quite significant if you know about Neville Goddard's Everything Is You Pushed Out. The entirety of 2023 was me working that landscaping job for the rest of it. These are the projects that I worked on. Here you can see that this is the Protege 5 that I was able to purchase at the beginning of 2023. And this is the yard that I would show up to every single day. And I did not like myself. I did not like my reality. The projects that were incredible, this whole putting green, all of this deck patio pavers, that was the kind of projects that I was building. Heavy work. I absolutely hated the entirety of 2023 though. And the reason is, in my mind, I'd gone from this guy, this is 2022, when I was in full belief this had manifested into $1 million investment deal that I'm getting paid for, to this. This is me in August 2023 at the dump. Looking up, like, wow, manifested this. Thank you, God. You put this in my life. However you spin it, like, I was crushed. And I had to get through it. Building incredible things like these retaining walls, these pavers for the entrance on this house. This is a project where the scape went all the way to this. These are heavy blocks, man. And underneath you need to excavate and then bring in the right foundation. The biggest thing was I felt like I was getting taught over and over again. Foundation. It's the most important part. I remember going for a hike with my dad in August 2023 and we took this fun picture of this giant rock. This is so significant because it felt like spiritually and financially, that's also what he had done for me by being able to buy the debt and help me in that time of need. Super thankful. By September, when I started getting closer to paying that money off, I started getting a little more into creativity. But you can see that, man, I'm a different guy. Despite all the difficulty, I never lost hope in what God's doing. Had quotes like this always resonate with me. And by December 2023, that was the beard that I decided to chop off one small increment at a time. I look like that guy from the Lord of the Rings here, or one of them. A handlebar mustache epic. After the whole debt was paid off, that was me. Now that's just the debt to the lenders. I still owed my friends. Despite the most challenging year in my life, this is what still resonates for me. By the end of 2023, at the end of all that, I ended up in Mexico and I was able to finally celebrate having accomplished that year, getting to the end of my goal. There was a lot that I emotionally really didn't allow myself to feel through all of that suppression and bitterness. And so when I got to Mexico, I drank excessive alcohol and that became a problem, which I'll talk about in my 2024 summary. What I want to encourage you out of this is what I would encourage myself before having gone into it. If you got money to owe, consider other options. Though I don't discount the character that it built for me to pay off that $30,000, had I done it over again, I would have found a way to, in Canada, you can file a consumer proposal or you can claim bankruptcy. These are real systems in place for individuals to be able to save our own mental health, to be able to help us survive. What I didn't feel like I did through the entirety of 2023 is I didn't feel like I was surviving. I felt like there was no other way but the dreary, mundane feeling of death at all times. And it's because my brain was in a state of depression. It was in a state of stress. When you notice somebody going through that, or you see it in your own self, know that there are systems in place, and please do not be afraid or shameful to reach out to them, because it's the most important thing that you can do for yourself for those that are in your life. 2024 summary coming up. Let's do it.